Today, we're diving into a chilling and tragic story that unfolded across multiple states, culminating in a shocking event in Berlin, New Hampshire. It's a case that combines domestic tension, allegations of kidnapping, and the deadly consequences of fear and miscommunication. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete understanding of the events that led to the death of Caitlyn Napsiger and the legal journey of her ex-partner, Dustin Duran. Before we jump in, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We cover real-life cases, deep dives, and investigative stories every week. You won't want to miss what's coming next. The story begins quietly in the early hours of March 1st, 2024. An Amber Alert lit up phones across New Hampshire. Authorities warned residents to be on the lookout for two young girls traveling with their father, 7-year-old Dustin Duran, a former Marine and a gaming content creator with a small but loyal following online. The alert shocked the local community, and soon, details emerged about a horrific discovery inside Dustin's Berlin apartment the night before. Police had responded to a call reporting a woman shot inside the ground floor apartment of a 3-level home on Main Street. When officers entered, they found the lifeless body of 1-year-old Caitlyn Napsiger lying on the sofa in the living room. Autopsy reports later confirmed she had died from a single gunshot wound to the head. Missing from the scene were her two daughters, 4-year-old Eloine and 1-year-old Vilaine. At first, the circumstances were unclear. The apartment belonged not to Caitlyn, but to Dustin, her ex-partner and father of the children. Caitlyn, described by friends and family as small but mighty, quiet yet fiercely loving, originally hailed from Minnesota. She met Dustin in 2019, and their relationship progressed rapidly. By April of that year, Caitlyn was pregnant with their first child. After Eloine's birth, the family moved to Las Vegas, where Vilaine was born. Soon after, their relationship began to crumble. By the time Vilaine was 6 months old, the couple had separated, and disagreements over custody and living arrangements intensified. By February 2024, Dustin had moved to New Hampshire with Eloine, while Caitlyn remained in Minnesota with Vilaine. She had traveled north for a visit, intending to coordinate with Dustin about the children's care. It was during this visit that the tragic events unfolded. Early that morning, a mother and her daughter spotted Dustin's white Subaru parked outside an Applebee's in Key, New Hampshire. Inside were both girls. Police quickly converged on the scene, and Dustin surrendered without resistance, first alerting officers that his children were in the car and noting a loaded handgun on the driver's side. Thankfully, both girls were unharmed. Forensic analysis later revealed that the handgun, a Beretta semi-automatic gifted to Dustin by his father, had been the weapon used in Caitlyn's death. Dustin's car also contained personal items, suggesting he had prepared for a long trip. Clothes, blankets, snacks, and even his desktop computer. His cell phone, turned off shortly after leaving the apartment, indicated a planned period of travel. To understand Dustin's actions, it's important to look at his background. At 18, he joined the U.S. Marine Corps, serving in the Philippines, Thailand, South Korea, Iraq, and Kuwait. He excelled in marksmanship and combat training, later becoming a firearms instructor. Following an honorable discharge, Dustin was diagnosed with PTSD and battled depression intermittently, receiving treatment and disability benefits. Despite pursuing a degree in audio engineering and working in California and Nevada, the emotional impact of his past and the challenges of parenthood continued to affect him deeply. Dustin spoke extensively to detectives after his arrest, outlining a history of disputes with Caitlyn. He claimed she frequently demanded money from him, and that following their breakup, she deceived him by taking Vilaine to Minnesota without informing him, forcing Dustin to follow. By January 2024, the couple agreed on a temporary plan to relocate to New Hampshire, where Caitlyn's aunt, Brenda, had seasonal work. Dustin moved first with Eloine, while Caitlyn stayed behind with Vilaine. When Caitlyn arrived in February, she stayed at Dustin's apartment in Berlin on an air mattress. According to Dustin, tensions escalated immediately. Caitlyn refused to leave and became increasingly aggressive, allegedly threatening to take the children from him or involve the police. Over the course of the day, Dustin claimed that Caitlyn's behavior, particularly her hold over Eloine, pushed him into a heightened state of perceived threat. Dustin described his mindset that day in stark terms. As Caitlyn clung to Eloine and refused to release her, he claimed that the line had been crossed. Muscle memory and his military training took over. He retrieved the gun, intending to protect his daughter. In his words, the act was deliberate, fast, and without hesitation, a response to what he believed was an immediate threat to Elowyn's safety. Throughout the trial, the defense argued that Dustin acted in lawful defense of his child. They framed Caitlyn's actions as a threat of kidnapping, emphasizing past incidents where Dustin claimed she had taken the children unexpectedly. Under the law, a person may use deadly force if they reasonably believe someone is committing or about to commit a kidnapping. The defense highlighted Dustin's perspective, military training, and his assessment of threat levels using a color-coded system of awareness. Conversely, the prosecution challenged these claims. There was no evidence that Caitlyn intended to abduct the children that day, nor that Elowyn was in imminent danger. Witness testimony from Caitlyn's aunt Brenda refuted allegations of a secret kidnapping plot. Brenda maintained that Caitlyn had no vehicle, no bus ticket, and no rental car. Her plan was to maintain communication and ensure the children's safety, not to conspire against Dustin. Medical testimony also played a critical role. The medical examiner noted that the gunshot wound indicated that Caitlyn was not shot at close range, contradicting the defense's claim that Dustin fired while Elowyn was still in Caitlyn's arms. Dr. Natalie Robertson, who interviewed Elowyn after the incident, confirmed that the child had sustained no injury and remembered only a loud noise, further undermining the assertion that Elowyn had been physically harmed prior to the shooting. Dustin testified about his heightened awareness that evening, describing the moment he perceived an immediate threat to Elowyn. He recounted trying to extract his daughter from Caitlyn's hold, her refusal to comply, and the fear that she was using Elowyn as leverage. His focus, he insisted, was solely on protecting his daughter, not harming Caitlyn. Despite these arguments, the jury ultimately sided with the prosecution. On the day of the verdict, after careful deliberation, Dustin Duran was found guilty of second-degree murder, reckless conduct with a deadly weapon, and endangering the welfare of a child. The court concluded that Caitlyn was not attempting to abduct her child at the time, and that Dustin's use of deadly force was not legally justified. Sentencing is scheduled for December 11, 2025. An important aspect of this case was the role of social media in Dustin's online presence. As a gamer and content creator, Dustin had built a small but devoted audience over 7 years, sharing streams of games like Fallout, New Vegas, and Sea of Thieves. While his channel may not have generated significant income, it provided insight into his personality, routines, and interactions with Caitlyn and the children. Investigators later noted that the careful planning of the trip, the packing of clothes, blankets, and personal items mirrored the meticulous attention to detail Dustin exhibited in his gaming streams. This detail, while seemingly minor, helped paint a picture of a man who approached life methodically, even in moments of extreme stress. It also highlighted the stark contrast between the calm, controlled persona seen online and the chaotic, tragic reality that unfolded that night. The story of Caitlyn Napsiger is a tragic reminder of the fragile line between fear, miscommunication, and irreversible action. Friends and family remember her as a vibrant, loving mother whose joy lives on through her daughters. A memorial fund has been established in her name to honor her legacy and support the children she loved so dearly. This case highlights the challenges of co-parenting under stress, the devastating consequences of misunderstanding, and the profound impact of mental health on decision-making in moments of crisis. It serves as both a cautionary tale and a somber reflection on the realities of domestic disputes and the potential for tragedy when fear and perception override caution. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the Caitlyn Napsiger case. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe for more true crime content. Your support helps us bring these stories to light with accuracy and care.